Okay, today we have got a good decision. In fact, I'm quite happy that it is a 2-1 decision because it does show there is some independence in the judicial. There are people who can exercise their independent mind. There is no necessity to be unanimous, and the 2-1 decision is a proof of that. Number two, the majority have decided that we have got enough of a case to proceed to the substantive level of the judicial review before another High Court in the same division. So on the 13th, the court has fixed the matter to be case managed by the new judge, and we will endeavour to ask the judge to hear it as quickly as possible, in view of the fact that you must realise by now it's already 1 year that Dato Sri Najib has not had the benefit of the addendum order. Yeah. Number three, what is important is you must bear in mind the majority judgment said that they cannot ignore the existence of the addendum order for various reasons. One is because we have produced the additional evidence, and this additional evidence from the first one to the second one, the AG has not even put up any affidavit to dispute it. They have not even answered it. The latest affidavit that they put was yesterday, which is way outside of the time allocated to them, because they were supposed to put in the affidavit on the 18th of December, which was an extended time, because they say they want to answer, and that extension was given, but they didn't answer. Yesterday they merely put the media statement of the palace, but the media statement of the palace says nothing except to repeat what Article 42 of the Federal Constitution has already provided. So it doesn't take us anywhere. In fact, even the chairman today said the media statement of the palace doesn't take us anywhere, neither here nor there, because he just stated what is in fact the law under Article 42. All right? So we are happy that finally Dato Sri Najib has got a win. Okay, because we have been quite thirsty of a win. Everywhere we get knocked down. But today we see some glimmer of hope, and we hope that this positivity will continue from the 13th of this month before a different judge, and hopefully we get a judgment in favour of us, and we can bring back Dato Sri Najib home to serve his sentence at home. All right? Yes, yes.
Dato Sri after decision tadi, apa reaction dia tadi, Dato Sri?
Dia punya reaction 2 thumbs up. From afar, I saw the 2 thumbs up.
Alright.
He was happy, and in fact very relieved that finally they recognize some element of injustice that has been placed against him. So he's hoping to see and to start breathing again. Yeah, he has been sleepless in the prison, to tell you the truth, because he was worried whether he's going to get fair trial and fair hearing again at discipline. Okay?
So with this, how soon do you expect Dato Sri Najib to be released?
Well, it depends on the judge. If the judge decides in our favour, say within a month, he goes back within a month.
Dato Sri, Tan Sri, I'm sure there are a lot of red faces in the government administration right now. You see this as a constitutional crisis coming up?
You see, I did say just now, in fact we have proven here, somebody is hiding the addendum order quite clearly, because until today we haven't seen the official addendum order that Sultan of Pahang signed and provided to the board and to the secretariat at the Istana. Because mind you, 29 was his virtually last day. On the 30th, he travelled back to Pahang, escorted by Tengku Zafrul. So, he addressed the addendum to the former AG, Dato Teraruddin, who is now Tan Sri Teraruddin. So what happened? What did the former AG do with the addendum? You see, they are the one who said the Agung's order cannot be challenged. You must respect 100%. But that's very ironical, isn't it? We are the one respecting. They are the one not respecting because they hit the addendum. When you hit the addendum, if it can happen to a former Prime Minister, you and I are nothing. They can bully us much more worse than that. This is why you have to set the principle of justice, the principle of law correctly. It doesn't matter who you are. It can be Datuk Sri Najib, Touchwood, it can be Lim Kit Siang, it can be Lim Guan Eng. It doesn't matter who. I think you should decide in accordance with law. Not about race, not about his politics or about his religion. I think that is what we should deliver. And that is the reason why I read that poem, which was a poem derived the inspiration from this karangan called Sejarah Melayu. Right? Sejarah Melayu, if you translate into English, is called The Genealogy of Kings, written by a very famous writer in the 16th, 17th century called Tun Lanang. But it was further reinterpreted in the form of poem by Haji Muhammad Saleh, another laureate of literary writing. He won. He's the latest one. So I read that poem simply because even in 16th, 17th century, the Sultan of Malacca has asked his Bendahara, which was Tun Lanang, to write down how we administer this country, how honesty is the backbone of governance. He said that. And I say, if you write it down so that our children and grandchildren will know what we did, and hopefully they will follow the example that we have set. But what you can see from the historical aspect of this addendum, honesty has gone out of the window. Where is transparency? You know, the Prime Minister has correctly said, very clearly, he says Malaysia is advancing because our system of government has got transparency, 100%. So if that is the case, we want to know and we want to punish the person who hid this addendum. Quite clearly, this addendum was hidden.
I think it's almost criminal. Huh?
It is criminal. You know, Section 23, which Dato Sri Najib was charged with under MACC Act, says this: if you abuse your power for purposes of gratification, gratification is not meaning money. Gratification, if you tell someone, okay, I'll approve your visa, provided you sleep with me tonight, there's no money involved. Sex is gratification. Here, the gratification is that he wants to make, whoever it is, wants to make sure Datuk Sri Najib remains in the prison. That gratifies him. So it is an abuse of power. Alright? So it is a clear offence.
That's right.
Yes.
Just now you caught you've adduced fresh evidence,
Yes.
because December 5th and all that. Are you able to share that affidavit with us? Because earlier some of those documents were sealed.
We can. Let me tell you, I will tell my team now. Ask any one of them, they'll give you, you can take pictures. But I'm going to share you with this now, the latest one. You see, there was this addendum. We don't want the addendum to be a subject matter of dispute. This is a letter from the Istana Pahang. You can see from the envelope. Sorry. Tengok dulu.
Has been distributed.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Depan, sorry. Okay, now I open. Yeah. Hold it, please. Okay. Now, you can see the royal emblem of Pahang. Sorry. Okay. Then I open it. There's only one letter here. This is the letter confirming from the palace that the Sultan, as the Yang di-Pertuan Agong number 16, has issued the addendum. You see that? One minute. Can you see?
Tan Sri,
Lagi sekali.
itu Tan Sri baca tadi dalam proceeding.
Yes.
Surat dia tadi.
Ini surat yang latest.
Baca
Ya, yang memperakui kewujudan addendum tersebut. Ya. Bahawa addendum tersebut dikeluarkan di bawah tangan tuanku Sultan Pahang. Okay? So what else can be doubtful? So who is the culprit who's hiding the addendum? Can you imagine in an institution of government, the Agong's order is hidden? So what kind of transparency we have in this country? Alright?
Are you going to pursue any action on that? Why?
Well, we will decide on something only after the case.
Tan Sri,
Okay.
given that Tahiruddin is now the federal court judge, should he resign? That this happened during his time when you filed the case.
If he is involved, let's be fair to him because nobody has heard him. If he is involved in not enforcing it, I think he should resign. But if he's involved, but he may not be involved, I don't know. Maybe somebody else who never gave it to him. We don't know. Okay? But somebody is a rascal, or maybe more than one, who has hidden the order that compels the king. You know, kings in Malaysia normally, they have their elegant silence. They don't want to get embroiled into any conflict. But can you imagine the king is forced to come out from his elegant silence into issuing this letter? So what kind of country are we living in? Okay? Masukkan. Thank you.
Tan Sri,
Yes.
question. This whole thing came about because Dato Sri sued the government,
Right.
asking about the addendum and where is it and whatever. So I think about 6 parties involved in the naming of the suit, right?
7.
7,
Because 7 is the government of Malaysia.
right. So push forward to 13th and beyond. I mean, if the judge finds that this addendum is legit and it exists, it's going to happen.
Okay, 2 things. Okay, the court has already said you cannot ignore it exists. I think the next thing is if they agree it exists, they may want to argue that it may not be valid, which to me is going to be a very difficult climb because we have already decided in many cases by the federal court and the Supreme Court that once the Agong sign, it doesn't matter whether the processes are not valid. The order itself is valid because you cannot challenge it.
But some lawyers interpret that federal constitution, that 142, that the Agong, whatever it is, has to get advisory from the pardons board.
Only advice, yeah.
Yeah, so but it's still up to him to
To
whatever.
decide whatever he likes.
You can advise me all you want, but this
Yes.
is what I want to do.
That is why, you remember I impressed upon the word presiding over the pardons board. He is not the chairman of the pardon board. Kalau kita kata chairman of pardon board, dia sebahagian daripada pardon board. Dia bukan sebahagian pardon board. He is almost a superior being, almost floating over the pardon board, listen to the pardon board and say, okay, give me advice, but I will decide what I want to decide. Which include the relief. Relief mean, umpamanya dia bagi addendum kan, addendum untuk perintah tahanan di rumah. That is a relief. Sesuatu yang melegakan penjaraan. So, that is a relief which he is entitled to give. He doesn't have to listen to the Pardons Board punya advice. Whether they advise him or not, it doesn't matter. Okay? So that's very important. Now, the other one I want to stress is this. This is critical. You imagine this is being hidden from Dato Sri Najib. What else is being hidden in the other cases? Remember we said there is conspiracy from the US till here? What else is being hidden? Just imagine that.
Well, the Prime Minister did say that the trials and some of the things that went on were all done in a hurry.
True.
Yes.
The Prime Minister was right. In fact, I think the Prime Minister was very kind to say and recognize that the trials involving 1MDB, SRC and a few others, including Dato Sri Zahid, was done in a hurry, and I think I can add the phrase, purely to do vengeance rather than to get justice. And that's why the cases cannot move. You know, some of these cases taking for years. All right? Any other question?